The two biggest football teams in the state of Georgia lost last week. They lost because they got too cute. The Georgia Bulldogs lost to South Carolina by 3 points, while the next day the Atlanta Falcons lost by 14 to the Cincinnati Bengals. The reason both teams lost, well, they got away from the offense that serves them so well. We know Georgia had issues with the defense. There were some questionable calls by the officials, but they lost that game in Columbia because they did not run Todd Gurley enough. Gurley is the best player in America, period. He just is. So when Georgia got the ball 1st and goal from the 4-yard line, why didn't they hand the ball to Gurley 4 straight times? Don't walk out of there wondering what could have happened if you had used the best player in America correctly. Instead, because of a poor decision, they walked out of there Saturday night wondering what could have happened if they had run the best player in America. 1st and goal from the South Carolina 4. You've got the best running back, perhaps the best player in the country, and you allow your quarterback to roll to his right on a play-action pass when no receiver was even close. The intentional grounding call was bogus, but it put it back on the 14-yard line. Then they missed a game-tying field goal, and the game was basically over. It shouldn't have been that complicated. Just give Todd Gurley the ball. He can never run the ball too much. Sure, you have to be careful to keep him healthy, but this is football. They can get hurt regardless of how much they're on the field. How many times would Vince Dooley had run a running back like Todd Gurley? Maybe 30 times at the least. Gurley ran it 15 times against Clemson and 20 times against South Carolina, and that's just not enough. Then Sunday, the Falcons got humiliated in Cincinnati. Matt Ryan had the best day of his career last week against the enemy, and then Sunday, he had his worst day of his career. Now, let's get this out of the way. First, he had 2 backup tackles on his line of scrimmage, and yes, that made a difference. But it was the game plan that was flawed. The Falcons assumed Ryan would not be protected by those tackles, and they went with short passing routes instead of throwing the ball downfield. When you've got receivers like Julio Jones and Ronnie White, Harry Douglas, even Devin Hester, just let Ryan chunk the ball down the field and test the opponent's secondary. Atlanta's defense is going to be a work in progress, just like Georgia's defense. So the offenses of both of these teams will have to be the reason they win games. If Georgia runs it and Todd Gurley runs it a lot, they can win a lot of games. And if the Falcons have a high-powered offense with Ryan throwing the ball downfield, they can win a lot of games. It's really that simple.